The views and the opinions expressed by our guests are purely their own, shaped by their unique life experiences and personal biases. While we value their perspective, they do not necessarily reflect those of the boardroom or strategy. We invite listeners to engage with an open mind. What led you to leave high-paying career and get into entrepreneurship?
Always been a case that I pushed myself saying that, am I the person who is up to the mark, or can I beat the person like IIT? And I have always been a comparing person where what drives you and what value brings you to the table.
With the vision of bringing AI-based technologies. So, what made you believe it in AI so early, and how did you think that it would actually going to be practical today?
You need to have a business model. It doesn't work like you are a good enthusiast technologies or expert in technology without setting up models. It will go nowhere.
But how do you keep yourself aligned to what is going around in the world? What things that you are doing today, maybe somebody else is building something which is better than it. Somebody else would launch a better version, maybe in a cheaper, even in a cheaper format or a cheaper price.
Absolutely.
So how do you set visions, or how do you set your execution plans in such a disruptive environment?
And we work in an environment where he's authoritative to CEO or the founder myself, where he can come and ask me that, okay, we have invested in this sort of investment for something, but no, we have never forgotten the fundamentals, lining up the strategies and taking up that.
Was it
always
a
makes sense
mainstream?
in
Just 2
answering
years
your
back
question.
also, nobody was talking about AI as much as we are talking today. Was it a mainstream?
In that time, even OpenAI CEO can't predict that what is coming next as a disruption of the technology.
Welcome to yet another episode of The Boardroom. Today in our boardroom, we have Harish Boke. Harish is a dear friend, and now we are partnering together in a project. Engineer by education, Harish worked with multiple organizations as an engineer, and then eventually he started his own organization. His company's name is Setoo Solutions. Setoo builds AI-driven websites, chatbots, systems, solutions across industries. I have known Harish now for quite a bit and have understood his understanding of AI is quite different. He started working in AI technologies when nobody was speaking about it, and it was not a huge trend as it is today. Let's deep dive into what it goes to run a business which is not just trending but also disruptive in nature. Welcome, Harish bhai.
Thank you so much, Anuj bhai. I think it's my pleasure to be here in a boardroom podcast. That a very well initiative you have started. Pleasure.
So you were in a very successful career. You were working with a huge organization. A lot of engineers dream to be a part of a career path that you were of. What led you to leave a high-paying career and get into entrepreneurship?
I think to get started with that answer is moreover the ideating what sort of personality I am and what drives me more. So I started my career of being engineer, not learning engineering, but it has always been a case that I pushed myself saying that, am I the person who is up to the mark, or can I beat the person like IIT? And I have always been a comparing person, but then I realized that, okay, I have to be me, that what traits I have. And I think taking a small break in Himachal, spending 1 month, got me on the track where I started doing business.
So you were, so what's this Himachal story? You were on a trip to Himachal and then you realized that enough of work, now you have to do something for yourself. What was the story?
Okay, so it was a lot of work. First of all, we were like driving from Pune to Himachal,
Right.
for a friend, taking one bungalow, staying over there. And then, moreover, people were sleeping at night. I was working in US shift. But I realized that I'm working so much, and it is always compelling and competing with how I can be a good contributor to the team. But then, thinking of you that maybe, you have a different traits, knowing that, or giving myself that time that I never got in the entire decade of time I have been working as engineers. I think that turned the page for me and got me starting that, okay, I have an opportunity where people asking me to be a small consulting task to help us out, and then why don't you dive it deep and get it ahead?
So, do we say that you chose security, safety, and consistent flow of income to more time for yourself and risk?
No, I don't think. I think I find myself you know, I would say competitive risk taker, and I have always been that person where calculative risk is kind of I've put out as my upper hand. I have enough after working for this decade. I had a good vision that I could survive for a year of time without any financial crunches, and then if not today, then when? So I think that puts me ahead of time, not thinking about security or consistency on the income or other aspects.
AI wasn't a mainstream just 2 years back. Also, nobody was talking about AI as much as we are talking today. So you started Setoo for four and a half years back, and with the vision of bringing AI based technologies. So what made you believe it in AI so early, and how did you think that it would actually going to be practical today?
Great. I think, and as I said, like, I have seen that you have been doing that exercises for everyone, where what drives you and what value brings you to the table. And I think that one of the value that for me, not being engineer, as I said, what consistently push me is that what is making different, how I am making different. So if I want to, roam around in Pune, where Setu is located in Aund, and see that you might find 100 companies who are working in software service, and that kind of finding my own UBP and USP. I had traveled somewhere in Dubai, spent some time understanding the world leaders coming together and thinking of ahead of time on AI and technology. So getting that tint acceptable in India, that's where it started. That how I can start with AI and how we can have our own colors of AI.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Tech and business and ideas in execution are two sides of a coin, right? So, though we see technology as a huge business industry, it's very difficult to run a tech business because there are multiple layers in technology, and uh, most of the time, even the customer who's going to pay for it don't actually understand it or know what exactly the output is going to be. So, what's the bigger dilemma? Technology versus business, or idea versus execution?
I think idea versus education. I mean, it's both. Depends on how you are perceiving it. Technology versus business. It is indeed difficult at a times when you think of kind of a company like me saying that you are a bootstrap, you are having full background of technology, but you know that if you are having a talent, if you need to have sustenance model in a place, you need to have a business model in place. It doesn't work like you are a good enthusiast technologies or expert in technology without setting up models. It will go nowhere. So does the second point makes more sense, where thinking of education and the assignment, taking it hand by hand, uh, goes very well. But saying that, I have a thought on that. Only doing that will again not take us to the high. It has to be a blend of four things that you mentioned.
Hmm. Hmm. Good, thanks. So, we as business owners play different roles in our own organization. We are our organization CEO, CTO, CMO, CFO, CHRO. Everything is what we manage on day-to-day basis. So, as a CEO of Setu, what vision have you seen uh, in this hugely disruptive environment that we are into now when it comes to AI as a technology? Today, you build something, and tomorrow, the AI would be building it for you, and all the efforts that you had taken may not be realized. So, what do you see as a vision for Setu as a CEO of the organization?
Great. I think we started as a services solution company as a Setu. Today we are a deep tech AI company. And why do we say that? Maybe it's always important to find your niche. So today, we are building conversational products, the products which thinks, which act, which work for you. So I think that is the future that I emphasize and envision for a shorter time when we are talking about AI. So maybe the product which can talk about what you do and think on your behalf in advance. So enabling product with conversational AI, with using the existing data, making it smarter and faster is a shorter vision that driving us at this point of time. And we are on our mission where we are continuously building this.
But how do you keep yourself aligned to what is going around in the world? So something that you cannot control. So what things that you are doing today, maybe somebody else is building something which is better than it, and once you are ready to launch it, somebody else would launch a better version, maybe in a cheaper, even in a cheaper format or a cheaper price.
Absolutely.
So how do you set visions, or how do you set your execution plans in such a disruptive environment?
Yeah, so I think in that time, even OpenAI CEO can't predict that what is coming next as a disruption of the technologies. But we have never forgotten the fundamentals. Lining up the strategies and taking up that always makes sense. In answering your question, I think 3 months is the the initial time that we are focusing on getting the product launch and taking the feedback with the real users. If that really making product market fit or early adopters acceptance, that actually drives us instead of going behind the crowd and the noise of AI, because that is completely going to evolve. I mean, a small example just to give you up to date, we were using tools in AI earlier to function that agentic AI. Today we are using MCP. So technologies are evolving. But now you have to keep a time always parked for yourself, saying that okay, this one sprint in a maybe a 6 months of time will be a evolvement or upgrading your technology.
Okay, thanks. Uh, what an irony we can say that we find that AI is going to replace a lot of humans, but to build AI, you would need a lot of humans, right? So, as an HR of your organization, how do you find the right people who understand AI and uh, deeply align with your vision in this fast-moving environment?
I think thinking of a from CHRO point of view or HR point of view, finding talent. Since the beginning, for us, it was never the technology. We chose our people based on their fundamental skills.
Okay.
When being people who could write algorithms and data structure today will can write anything that coming up. But saying that with the evaluation based on the technology today, I think there is no foolproof method that gives you that okay, this person probably working on a conversational AI could be a good fit. There can be a patterns of understanding a specific roles that let's say AI engineer, ML engineer, but saying that it will not give you the fit candidate. It is always the fundamentals, what the maybe a computer engineering guy has studied. But the trend, what I want to probably put over here is a full stop where we had a people from other industries as well.
Okay.
In these this computer science branch and everything. I think this trend will start now because
Okay.
people who have put in a lot in fundamentals that can go ahead.
Okay, so you are saying that maybe you would not require people who would code for you, but people who would understand the business and understand the
Business logic.
functional logics behind any requirement would
Correct.
more be required because coding would be done by AI.
Correct.
Right. How do you align your team uh, uh, to understand what the businesses or what your clients require, and how your services or products that you deliver to your clients would actually make a impact? Do your team align with your customer, or is there a different method which you follow so that there is a clear SOP where the requirement is gathered, your there is somebody who understands it, the team executes it, and there is a proper flow of communication?
I think so far being in about 7-8 years understanding what people want and how they look at it. We know that even it drives by value. So we try and identify the problems at first. So initially going to the team, it's like probably my and my sales team job and the business analyst team job is to identify really the problem and whether it's going to help client with what we are building. So identifying that, solutioning that, maybe getting a couple of workshop in the beginning to just derive at the problem statement, even if they have it very clear, but giving a full-fledged picture of how it will work. That's I think gets us very clear with the quality deliveries and align goals of clients.
Okay. And uh, does your people in your organization really resonate with what client requires and what client needs? And if they don't, then how do you build that synergy?
Yeah. So today, what we are doing for we have a clear verticals that functions like that. So, for example, if I'm doing the CEO work and I have a delegates who takes care of their entire team. Talking about development and design, right? So when we onboard a client and project, the way they resonate is obviously the documentation we are creating, but moreover the additional activity that what I have been doing personally because of this AI which is coming up and talking, right? Attending conferences, talking to people, understanding the client's requirement. I think that gets a good sense of what we are trying to do. Creating a small POC and understanding document to the team, and showing it to the weekly meetings when I'm discussing with a specific team leaders. I think that gets my team very closer with what we are trying to do with clients and what how I'm imagining the AI with the industry.
What's your philosophy around hiring? Uh, in this fast evolving process, what kind of talent you see? So you answered this question a bit that you focus on
Fundamental.
fundamentals, but do you find candidates who are really good at fundamentals, or is it easy to find such talent?
I won't say. I mean, yes and no, but no because you won't get ready-made recipe for things, right? You always have to tweak these things around what you need and how it will work. So for us, I think we find it the basics ingredients that what we require in the candidate, and we blend it around our requirements. We find the strength of that specific candidate and then blend them in a relevant project. So we make it a strength of going together and blending it together.
I have often seen for the sizes of organizations that you are, or um, hiring is more on what options you have in front of you. And generally, all the options may not be the ideal options that we require, but we have to choose from the option that we have.
Mhm.
So, most probably we will not find the fit, right, for
Mhm.
the cost that we can afford
Correct.
to, right. So in that case, how do you manage? Do you have a rigorous training program, or do you have a period where people join you, get into profession, learn through the technologies, the ideas, the concepts that your organization work on, your philosophies that organization work on, and if they align, they continue, you drop, how it works?
So I think these days we have started these programs where, uh, as I announced some time back, maybe a quarter two back, that we will not, the entire Setu will be AI company. Not
Okay.
only the team which belongs to AI, but the entire company will be AI company. That's where we have identified the materials that requires team upbringing or getting team up to the mark and getting them with the practices that our existing team is following, who is specifically working on the AI. But saying that, in the new talent specific, the specific interns we are hiring today from colleges or who kind of, I see as a future of Setu that coming together, contributing it. Definitely, talent is not the only criteria that I look at.
Hmm.
I think from a perspective of reliance, the team compatibility, and everything for interns as well. But then we are investing on them. We are giving them entire material. We are giving them mentors who can actually get them on the mark from practicing practical problem and the real problem with the small feature. So we are putting that approach.
Harish bhai, as the chief finance officer of a company which is into technology and AI. Uh, how do you price your solutions? Are your solutions priced on fixed basis, or are they priced on performance basis, or do you see that what's the scope of customization? Is there any scope of customization? How do you price your products?
So I think the pricing strategy is always derived by the number of efforts we are putting in. I mean, we have definitely followed certain models. It can be a time and material. It can be a the long-term monthly engagements and all. But to evaluate that, we have always believed in the right estimation strategies, saying that if client is coming to us and asking for one thing to be done, so we assess it from all the aspect that we will be doing. Getting the clear estimates to the people, I think derives us to the calculations as well. Because we have mapped that financially. For example, if resource A, B, C are there, how much it actually costing it to company, including his maybe salary, his entire compensation of the company, and how much company wants to make on top of it. So that's I
So,
think.
so you are saying that you calculate the efforts that will go in every project on those, based on those projects efforts, you quote them or price them.
Correct.
Okay, and what happens when certain projects are very highly valued, not just to you to the customer, but also as a final product? Do you guys make sure that that extra value or the value that the product is for the company, do you try to capitalize on that and price accordingly?
So not really, but how in terms of a high value project or a bigger size of project, we actually break it down into the sprints. We actually use the methodologies.
I am not talking about the value in terms of efforts required in length. I'm talking about I'm talking about uh, value to the customer. Say a project which would still take very less efforts to execute, but the value of the entire project to the customer is very high.
We do, Anuj, by saying that you might have heard about the saying, right? Maybe it's a simple tick to create an Nike logo, but you know that it has taken a decades to learn or get to that thought process.
Correct.
So do we do get that value driven assessment at point of time for sure.
In terms of financial decisions, what investments you have done in your organizations with the hope of a high future ROI return? Is there uh, do you see calculate ROI while making any investments? And if yes, what latest investment you have done in your organization?
I think it is subjective. I mean, we do investment based on our calculation strategies and definitely a gut feels. And we do portray the projections and revenue mapping to it, but I don't think it is the case always. I mean, we have to have the combination of all.
So, do your CEO self or your operational head self overpower your finance CEO, CFO?
No, I think in the current state, I think we have a CFO as an independent leader
Okay.
who looks after entire operations. I mean, and we work in an environment where he's authoritative to CEO or the founder myself, where he can come and ask me that, okay, we have invested in this sort of investment for something better of the future, and where is the money and how, when it is coming. So we
Okay.
have created very lean environment and given authority to all of the individual leaders where we believe like we all are at a par, but we all are part of one mission. So it's not a CEO or a founder
So,
alone
did you
running.
find it very difficult for yourself to follow that discipline that you had to get somebody involved, or the discipline was there, still the work is enough to be delegated to somebody else?
It was there unofficially, but we intended intentionally bring it to officially, saying that we appointed CFO who has been managing finances of operations for one part of it. But we got it to the level where we define it very formal structure that let's say every Friday me and my CFO meets. So every Monday me and my CSO team meets.
Okay.
So we have that the defined functioning in a place where entire delegates, as I said, like a leader of entire functioning operation, functioning departments, I meet every week, and then combining meeting of the pillars, we get at a, let's say, a monthly MIS meeting. That's where we ask each other this question, and I am answerable to all of this question. Being a leader, I take that as a responsibility, because many people think that you being CEO or being a founder, there is nobody to ask you. But I think that's a wrong way of running company.
Okay. What financial indicators tell you that you are on the right plan? Do you say that you have weekly meetings with your CFO and you keep a track on your finances and how your investments have been working for you? So what are the indicators? What are the parameters that you keep a track on?
I think it's amalgamation where I don't want to be a center point, but yes, being a center point, having the complete visibility on the number of traction we have on sales, correct that projections versus the existing revenue that we are generating, that determines the runway that we are having versus the investment and other things that we have planned. So whenever we do the investment, we have the return calculations in the place. So do the projections work that way.
Okay, so you're saying that the figures that you mostly track are sales figures. That how many new sales you get,
Sales projections and existing revenues.
existing revenue. Okay. Uh, you as a CEO, we also have huge roles in handling the day-to-day operations and day-to-day activities of our organization. AI projects can be unpredictable. How do you set timelines and expectations for every project, and how do you align uh, a path, and if you stick on the same path, maybe you are not adapting to the changes, and if you keep adapting to the changes, then you may be way away from the expected
Correct.
timeline. So how do you match all this?
So I think this is always going to be the case, and as I said earlier, managing and delivering. So no matter, I mean, even if you say that today it's new thing that what you have developed can be developed in a different way today, and that's probably the easier way to do that. But we still stick to the what we have committed to deliver, and maybe the revision part of bringing or uplifting that technology with the newer one comes later. So we always, and as you said, it's always unpredictable in AI, where a specific scope that we have taken may take additional efforts and may not fit in that. But I mean, sometimes we have burned out on that level as well, to be very honest. But most of the times, what we feel is uh, doing that groundwork, writing a single pointer, even if it is 15 minutes task, but noting it down as a plan of part, coming together as a team, defining the sprint plan, helps us optimize that. There are certain burnouts when people are, even client side people are opting for it, but even they do not aware that how it takes a bit takes other things out. And I think answering that question, that's where I discussed taking it another way, where probably being one consultant or AI consultancy firm, or me being that in that shoes, understanding the problem statement, giving all the clarity on the paper before even we get there, and solving the unexpected hurdles. I think that will solve. That we are working on that.
Right, nice. So uh, all the strategies first be clear on the paper, and then the execution becomes easy and simpler. So in this process, what kind of systems, frameworks, SOPs do you use that power Setoo's delivery mechanism and ensures the quality that you want to keep?
Yeah, I mean, in SDLC, which is software development lifecycle, we already have a processes defined that what comes after what. So that is one process we follow diligently, saying let's have one design sign off, and then we can go for a development per se. On the other hand, we are using methodologies like agile methodologies, which follows the structured of understanding, defining deliveries instead of doing waterfall methods, like building entire uh, I would say a product and delivering at once, rather giving a small piece of it being going through all the cycles and testing it. That's one framework, and it again comes with all the agile methodologies, comes with all understanding of retrospective, sprint plannings, day-to-day stand-ups, updates, and in addition, every week my project management team reports me up to the mark with entire project that is happening in house. So that gives me a clarity of entire process or things that are cooking in house, even if it is failing, even if it is not on the track, even if it is ahead of the time. So all of this clarity are project management reports on the schedule, right?
Do you think that engineers or people who are into software who understand different project management techniques like agile are inherently very good managers or project managers, irrespective of what field they are working in? Maybe tomorrow there is a project which is beyond technology. Maybe it's a construction project, or maybe it's a crisis management activity, or anything. Do you think that as being into IT or being into software, you guys are inherently better project managers?
No, I don't think so.
So that's a practice that you have to follow to the T, and practice it in terms of as a system, rather than practice it as it comes naturally to you guys.
I think that's one part of it. When, as you know, as you are evaluating the candidate of project management, you definitely identify the primary requirement to be a project manager, be it IT or be it any other things. But to be practically talk about it in the day-to-day life and the deliveries of project, we don't evaluate people or these people who drive this, deliver this on that bucket. So answering that, if you ask me that, can tomorrow your project manager who is managing a software product today, can he manage the contingency management for some of the crises happen for natural something? I would say yes for that.
Nice. How do you balance innovation with reliable execution? So there would be new technologies coming, new innovations coming, new ideas popping up every day, and then how do you know that it is going to be really executable or reliable to get the result that you desire? So how do you balance this?
So I have kept it, separate things from the team. So majorly when it comes to innovation, right, I myself be part of this, and there are kind of AI leaders or some department heads who we separately do R&D. So at Setoo we do not have dedicated R&D department. We have all people located everywhere, but I myself being taking that part initially, innovating it, and as I said, maybe talking to people, going in conferences, understanding what is releasing with the new and new technology on AI, how it can probably simplify the things that what we do today is always on the mind. And I always pass on that information to respective departments and the leaders, and probably ask them to do exercise with let's say a different independent product or project, saying that R&D project say for a day, and give me this output, whether does this solve the use case. And if we are confident, we do go ahead and implement or suggest that to our client that this is coming up as an innovation, and we should go ahead with. And what was the second one? So this is how you. The second one is managing the quality of the project with this. So is this can we say that even in an ongoing project, if there is something that needs to be changed or improved, Setu and your SOPs and your processes are adaptive enough to get the processes aligned? We do. I mean, if it is at a level where we see that now maybe a next sprint after this week we are gonna start about it, and we still have a buffer time that even before we start we can simply tweak and get adaptive with the new things before we building it. We do push that. We do. Doesn't that affect the quality of the product, or maybe will it? How do you know that the shift is reliable enough to implement? Yeah. So in terms of quality, right, it has its own cycle. It does change the implementation way, but as I said, like before we go ahead and implement that, even if it take additional day to do that independently, we try and test this. If we find it physically proven, saying that this methodology, take an example of these tools versus MCP, right? So MCP is reliable enough for this specific product. We do go ahead with this. This does takes a tweaks and turns around, we may come across that this might need a different testing mechanism altogether.
And adding up the cost also.
That adding up to the cost as well. But see, I mean, in this era, right, where we are continuously evolving, you have to be top notch with the technology as well, and obviously you have to be relying on the quality as well. It takes one layer additional for us to take the testing on us, but I think we still go ahead and encourage our team to do that.
Doesn't it affect your finances when it comes to being in a very price sensitive market? So I don't think maybe if you mostly when you're working with developing economic customers, they would be more price sensitive and they would be more concerned about the cost rather than the readiness of the technology. So how do then doesn't it affect?
It does affect certainly, and for sure. I mean, it does affect in terms of customers, right? There are people, as you said, like people who are very cost sensitive customers. They probably do not go after the innovation. They need, okay, I need this, and this is how I want it. So maybe it is define scope and do that. Saying that some people are demanding with the new things that if it is there, why we are not using. But you at the era where you are giving solutions on the new technologies, adopting it, and delivering it. So it does affect the financials of the company. But as I say to that, we do take that burnout on ourselves because that's one learning that comes along with this experience. But next time we are equipped and prepared to give that solution to the next client. That makes our quality and our positioning or commitment better to the client.
When it comes to marketing, how did you get your first few clients? Was it from referrals? Was it from your network? From your when you were doing job, or did you had some kind of outreach program that you did? Where do you get your first customers?
No, I think the first thing first, where it came through the referrals, it came through my personal connects. It has started. I nurture, I built my own relations, and obviously no outreach program was there designed until now because now I'm associated with you, so we can think in that direction. But before that, I think no program as such. Everything is coming through mouth publicity. Everything is coming through via references. Everything is coming through your own contacts and the decades you spent in the industry, and then maybe the customers who are giving success stories. That were the way.
Uh, as an entrepreneur, don't you feel that depending on references or depending on network makes you insecure that what happens when leads dry up or what happens when there are not enough leads for you to cater than the capacity that you can deliver? So, how does it how does it makes you feel? Is it the stage where you have not yet experienced that you're still your hands are full with work, or do you find this coming across where leads dry up and you are looking for references?
No, I think it has started the way I mentioned, but today it is not the case. Today we have a prospect pipelines in the place. Our sales team continuously outreach or reach out to people in a different mediums. They have their own mechanism to get people prospect, in a place, doing one second level of meeting and then taking me when it requires. I have my own mechanism to probably go and connect with people even if it is not coming from my existing network and all, getting it from there, and maybe not actually the methodological way that it has to be like defining the marketing campaign or identifying that. So I think we are not yet there, but we have turned the page from where it was to where we are right now. But the ideal way where it has to be defined and designed from marketing angle where how to outreach and what studies it requires. So I think we are not there yet.
Uh, Considering that you have some requirement or the customer or your client has some kind of use case that needs to be solved, how do you pitch AI and AI based solution to a client who is not technical enough and who doesn't understand how AI can solve the challenge. So, do you see an adoption of AI in the market, and is it still easy? Is it easy because of the trend that we are seeing, or it is still difficult to make people realize the importance?
I think people are convinced already. People are doing work. Maybe people, even if they are simply using ChatGPT, WhatsApp maybe, there it comes with the meta. So people are aware of it from the superficial layer or peripheral layer, not knowing the depth of it, because and adaptive as well. People are accepting it. When we give solution, they feel overwhelmed and wow about it. So people definitely like the approach we are working on. They really approached us. But the point where the hurdle came in, because the intelligence comes with the cost, correct? And sometimes people don't understand, do we really need AI or a simple automation? That has been a challenge really now these days. And maybe we are trying and working that other way around, or from the end to start, identifying the value and the cost upfront, and then probably applying that. That's made it easier and adaptive.
Uh, do people understand the difference between automation and AI? So have you seen challenges where people couldn't understand the difference between automation and AI?
There are definitely confusions in people's mind where some things are not been has been there for a long time. Even the AI, Gen AI has changed the world right now, saying. But people do get confused with the automation and the AI. People find even if it is automation, it is a magic that is happening with the AI. So there is definitely confusion, and we deliberately put that efforts to clear a confusion that okay, even if it looks like automatically done, it is not AI. It is some automation that we have done. But there is a confusion around that.
What's your positioning? How do you position Setoo as? Are you a deep tech company? Are you automation or a enabler partner or a platform? Are you a service? Are you a product? How do you position Setoo solutions?
So, I'm very clear about what Setoo is and how we want to drive it. Setoo has started as a service-based company, and now we are taking it to a deep tech service-based company. So, deep tech AI, where all of these things comes under one roof, but the fundamental things that we have started as a service company stays there. So, we build products, but we build products for our clients. So, we build things with the AI, which, as I said, like think, act, perform with conversational AI, with the different AI strategies, but for our clients.
Uh, uh, how do you run? Do you run paid campaigns? Do you have outreach programs? You said that you have recently starting it.
Yep.
So, how do you run your campaigns? Do you rely on building authority, or do you focus more on targeted account-based marketing? Is it more a sales activity or more of a marketing that you do?
I would say sales activity. Marketing, as I said, like we are not very formalized and appropriately placed at point of time. Sales, why I say that? Because see, in a in a time of let's say a quarter, a team can probably would have talked or could have talked to thousands people. My team usually in a week of time reach 700 people via different mediums. 700 to 1000 including me. So reaching out or being connected 1000 people is very difficult. So what we have done is that we probably have launched our own newsletter email campaign, and that only reaches out to people who we have already spoken to, so that who is always in mind will get back to you. Because connecting that people is what we are doing right now. That's where I said it is as a sales activity and not marketing.
Given 5 lakhs as a budget per month for marketing, where will you invest that money?
I think the recently my belief system more centered towards attending event, and me being a small size company where I can myself attend the event which is coming into the AI, maybe taking a small stall or taking about a speaker slot. will make a more effect in terms of marketing is something that what I feel at this point of time. There are definitely ways around where we can run a campaign. I can probably start something, but I'm not really into that loop or understand it thoroughly from that point of view.
So you're saying you would focus more on PR
Yes.
and PR strategies rather than marketing activities which are more centered towards directly business generation. So you'll rather invest money in relationship building.
See, my personal, I mean, in my personal experience, maybe that is two things. One, that I am not exposed much with the right practices of marketing, and I am yet to, probably get that rolling. And then number two, when I'm talking about PR, right, the way currently we are functioning, where people are reaching out to prospects and then, setting up one level, second level, third meeting, and maybe a bottom stop approach. And I think when I go to events, the PR works like top to bottom approach, which has a good trust already established and everything. So I see result to it will come along better. It might take certainly a time, but it will come along better is my recent experience, I would say. But saying that, idealistic way, someone who is helping in a marketing appropriately telling me that how to utilize the funds that I have, I think would be more ideal use case.
Anyway, let's have a quick rapid fire.
Sure.
What comes first in your mind by listening to certain words? Okay, code or coffee?
Code. Code with coffee.
Code with coffee. Okay. One AI buzzword that you secretly dislike?
Automation.
Automation. Python or JavaScript?
JavaScript, because I have been a front-end developer all my life.
Okay. What's harder, building a product or convincing a client?
Convincing client.
Convincing client is hard. Okay. Technology first or client first?
Client first.
Client first. Okay. One AI use case that still excites you every time?
The way we are thinking in AI, right, which is NI, how we can apply the same in AI is something fascinates me always, and I keep on thinking that how we can have something which understand the traits of a human and suggest me something like that.
Okay. Okay. One thing you wish more founders understood about AI and automation?
It's not about what is happening right now in the AI space or what is launching today and tomorrow. It's about how it is valuing or complementing to the client with their requirement. Does this really help or drives the value? I think that all founders around should understand.
Nice. Across the different roles as an entrepreneur that you play, what has been the most challenging role for you? Is it and that you don't like or enjoy the most? Maybe what is it? Is it HR, finance, sales, marketing? What department?
Being a manager is the dumbest and boring role I feel, because I'm going on leave and managing that. I think I feel very bored about that role. Other roles, I think I still feel
Operations.
Operations, you can say.
Operations manager is something that you do.
Yeah.
Right? But, and what do you think is your strength that you not just enjoy but you're really good at? Being a CEO, HR is HR or sales, finance.
I think empathizing, being on the same page with the people I'm speaking, is the strength that I always found in myself.
Okay. So, what do you think is still a conflict within you, and you're still struggling with? Is it sales versus perfection, speed versus depth? So, are there any conflicts like this still exist in your mind?
See, I have worked with people who are driving perfection, but I don't find myself a perfectionist because I feel a start is better than nothing. So I believe in the horizontal workflow. Saying that does answer your second question, depth versus resilience.
Correct.
I do believe in the depth until when we find the milestone to go that dive, but otherwise it's a horizontal for me, not that.
What is the next roadmap for Setoo? What's your aspiration for Setoo? What are you working on? Products, platforms, partnerships? How where do you see Setoo going?
I think I have cleared it very well at this point of time with the Setoo, right? Being a deep tech company, partnering with the complementing people who are experts like you coming from marketing and having their expertise, partnering with people who are doing sales together, partnering with a company where they probably are doing the same thing but not at the similar level. So partnership is definitely one that I look at. Number two, I been emphasized from the beginning. Conversational AI has been a strength of Setoo from the beginning. I see the world will definitely change with the way we have been talking to machines, maybe the typing and all. This will be definitely a conversation directly as you and me are speaking. So that's the direction that I'm heading, Setoo, right?
Okay. One advice that you would give to a young techie who is looking to build a career in AI?
Yeah, I think it's not about how good you are at a specific programming language. Because I have seen people have very buzzword about, hey, I'm very good at React and Python and all. So I believe that the next generation which is coming up, right? They has to, number one, I've seen there are textbooks who are teaching AI for 10 grad students as well. So, understanding what is the next and how we will be working, not relying on the specific language, believing on the frameworks and fundamentals, and getting hands-on with what it is working today instead of theoretical knowledge.
Right. Uh, from all the roles that you play as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
which role do you think is very important for an entrepreneur to, even if they don't like it, they need to master it?
You're batting. You have to do sales even if you do like or not.
You have to do sales.
You have to do sales.
Even if you like it, if you are in entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Yes. So I've been interviewing a lot of entrepreneurs, and most of the entrepreneurs understand that the importance of sales is one. So being a marketing coach myself, I coach a lot of people on marketing, but I tell them that marketing is as good as your sales. If you don't get your hands dirty, how much ever you beautify the stage, you will have to get into the market, you have to get into the field. Harish bhai, thank you so much for being a part of my podcast. It was a pleasure knowing you and your aspirations for Setoo.
It's my complete pleasure and thanks for having me. Thank you.